In the lesson on creating an average control chart, the factors AC and AW were taken from a table. In this lesson, we will show how to calculate these factors. And hello again to this lesson, which essentially has two learning objectives. It should be said in advance that knowledge of how to determine the quantiles of the standardized normal distribution is required. There is also a separate lesson for this. To keep this lesson short, we will take the required values from a table and focus on calculating the factors for AC and AW. So after this lesson, you should know the selected quantiles of the standard normal distribution for common warning and control limits. And you should be able to calculate the factors AC and AW yourself for different sample sizes. This lesson has only one chapter, which covers the two previously mentioned learning objectives. So let's start with the calculation of the factors AW and AC for mean charts. The following calculation is essentially divided into three major steps. But first of all, let's go through the formulas and the meaning of the symbols on the right-hand side. The first formula for the upper control limit contains the mean value mu. This is the mean of the individual sample means. So this is called the grand mean and is the process location or its center line. U is the quantile of the standard normal distribution for the selected limit. This means the selected non-interference probability. The standard deviation of the means is shown here with sigma for x bar. It is calculated from the standard deviation of the individual values, taking into account the size of the sample. If sigma for x bar is replaced by the standard deviation of the individual values divided by the square root of n, with n for the sample size, the lower formula for the upper control limit is obtained. So, now that we are clear about the formula to be used, the first step will be to determine the quantiles for the standard normal distribution that we have already mentioned. Then the square root has to be calculated for different sample sizes. This will just be sort of a subcalculation in a spreadsheet. The quotient must then be formed from these two results in order to obtain the factors for AC and AW. Since we have initially limited ourselves to considering only the upper control limit, here are now all the formulas for the lower and upper warning and control limits. As can be seen, the factors for the upper and lower limits do not differ. We will continue to calculate the factors for the 95% warning limits and also for the 99% and 99.73% control limits. Which limits or which non-interference probabilities you choose can depend on customer requirements and the like, or on the region in which you are located. As already mentioned, first we need the quantiles of the standard normal distribution for the selected non-interference probabilities. As also mentioned in the introduction, more deeper knowledge of how to calculate these quantiles is required at this point. But there is also a separate lesson for this. Tables for the quantiles for the standard normal distribution can be found in the relevant literature or on the internet. The table below shows a small section of the non-interference probabilities we have chosen. So for U, we have values of 1.96, 2.58 and 3 for the corresponding limits. These values can be found here on the left side. Now we come to the expression square root of n. N is the number of measured values of a sample. The sample size in the control chart shown on the right is 5. The square root of 5 is 2.236. Since our goal is to calculate the factors AC and AW for different sample sizes, a table was created for sample sizes from 1 to 10. On the right side are the square roots of the respective sample sizes. At this point, we have all the values we need and can fill the table with the results for AW and AC. Tables like this one show values for the factors AW and AC depending on the sample size in tabular form, and can also be found in the relevant literature or on the internet. Well, that was only one chapter, but possibly a whole lot of new information. Therefore, I would like to conclude by repeating the 3 most important key messages. The factors AW and AC depend on the sample size. They are multipliers for the standard deviation and are usually taken from tables. Both 99% and 99.73%, that's the plus-minus 3 sigma range, non-interference probability limits are common. If you found this lesson helpful, please let me know and leave a comment. Thank you for that, take care and see you next time. Bye!